Both the health department and Mizzou athletics say COVID-19 guidelines are working at Faroe Field. But when it comes to concession stands, inspectors found nearly 70 violations that could put your health at risk.
ABC 17's Molly Stawanoga went behind the kitchen door to investigate which ones had the most issues.
The health department told me data does not indicate any home games for the Mizzou Tigers have led to a greater spread of the coronavirus. However, compared to last year, there are already more violations of the food code. 68 this year as compared to 52 in the first 3 home games last year. MU sanitarian in charge of the inspection says the food code is related to COVID safety.
Ultimately, food safety is food safety. And so those things where hand washing was important before, it's important now.
Out of the 49 stands done inspected, 24 were clean for each of the 3 home games. The other half all had violations, some worse than others. None were bad enough to the point they had to get shut down. The company Levy oversees all things food and drink at Mizzou football games. Levy told me, quote, separate from our COVID-19 practices, we were made aware of inspection results. They said they corrected all violations and they welcome the additional guidance on their practices.
It's a big deal. Public safety is important. And so if it is something that is going to cause a potential problem to whoever's there, it will just get closed. Anything that you can correct on site, or another thing you might have to do would be to put in place a corrective action plan, which I would follow up in 72 hours.
Out of your typical concession stands in Memorial Stadium, the one with the most violations was stand 15 with 5. Now, on the first home game, workers didn't know the specifics in holding food at a certain temperature for a certain time. Plus, workers were not wearing hair restraints. They corrected both of those issues during the inspection. When I dug through the inspection reports, many of them had issues with temperature.
It's really important to keep hot foods hot, cold foods cold. That should be a standard that is always kept. In the stadium, we've put up signs and worked closely with the vendors to make sure that they have a resource to look at.
Aside from the 20 basic concession stands, 2 vendors had the highest count of violations, 7 each. On our website, abc17news.com, you can click See More Violations to find out how clean they were this season.
And we also spoke with Mizzou Athletics about the guidelines they have in place for game days amid the pandemic. Some of those include social distancing, gloves and masks at concession stands, and plexiglass barriers. Mizzou says it has not had to kick anyone out for violating the COVID safety guidelines at Faroe Field.